Hello and welcome everyone. This is our Friday night presentations. We call these Friday Night Spiritual Insights with Michael Mirdad. So we appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. Today, we vary the topic so much every week, and we have a complete playlist on YouTube that you can check out. But we do this program every Friday at 5:30 Arizona time. We also have Sacred Sunday services at 10 o'clock Arizona time from Unity of Sedona. So you can join us there as well. As per request of someone, I think it was yesterday, maybe today, they asked me if I would talk about personal, global, and universal reboot. Actually, what they asked about was there's kind of a global reboot going on, some people are calling it, or it's almost easier to call it a reset, a global reset. But let's make this clear first. There are different levels of understanding that. Some people are talking about literal economic resets or global resets, and they mean that more on a linear or economic scale, sometimes maybe governmental. But there's a large wheel in the sky, as Journey called it, keeps on turning. There's a large wheel in the sky, figuratively, that is turning ever so slowly, seemingly, and within that, smaller wheels within that, smaller wheels. So there are smaller wheels that are being rebooted individually for us. So there's a personal, individual reset, reboot that's happening right now. Then there's a more global version, a little larger wheels, but then there's a universal. Sometimes I call it cosmic reset, but reset or reboot. And the cosmic is kind of like saying universal. Okay, so this is all truly happening. And these wheels are always turning, but sometimes the wheels turn and turn and turn, and every so often an alarm goes off, like in the mechanisms of the workings of a watch or clock. The gongs are not always, even though the wheels are always moving, the gongs are not always going off. There's registered moments that they're supposed to be letting us know about key times. And that's what 2012 is. That's what the millennium change, the harmonic convergence, the 11:11 alignment, and so on. These are pivotal moments in world experience, history, present, and future. So there's a bit of talk going on about this global reset, but I want to mention that, yeah, we are going through it, but several layers, several levels. We're going through personal, global, and universal resets, meaning the alarms are going off. And it, just because people are saying there's a reset, some people are thinking, oh, there's some great things coming. It's like we're going into a renaissance. No, we're actually not even done going through the dark night of the soul, which individuals go through. It's called personal. Then there's relationship, dark nights of relationships, when things all hit the fan and go into challenging times. There's planetary, or sometimes there's smaller groups, families can go through it. Groups of people in a town, a state, see, and on, a country, a continent, and the whole world. It's not that common that the whole world goes through something like a dark night of the soul. We sort of went through a version of it in 2020. We went through it during the Great Depression because a lot of the world was involved in that. But also, you'd have to really go back to a degree. You'd have to go back to the Dark Ages to find another time when it was a global reboot. Reboot doesn't just mean, rebooting means shutting down and starting up again. It has two sides. So the concept of rebooting shouldn't be thought of just like as here we go, what's the new, the positive, because it's not always going to be positive when you think. So I tend to feel like, I've got to warn people that the rebooting, it's like rebooting our computers, which is, what's that about? It's an attempt to clear anything that was frozen or stuck and get a fresh start, right? Isn't that what it's about? And when that happens, you're hoping some of your files and documents didn't get damaged or irreparably, damaged and or deleted. Same with this. Personal, global, and cosmic reboots. Yeah, sometimes there are files called relationships, health statuses, economic statuses that don't make the transition. They're lost files. They won't be there when you wake up tomorrow. And that is happening, guys. There's a lot of some, serious stuff that's going on. Um, it's not unlike a dark night of the soul, except a dark night of the soul is usually a personal experience. Like I said, it could be, a family, a group, it could even be global, but those only come every so often. The reason I'm making the analogy to the dark night of the soul is to say that it's a period of darkness, looking for guidance, wondering, how did I get in here? What is this about? There are these creepy sounds to the sides of this tunnel that I'm in. How far do I follow those? Well, instead, what you should be looking for is that little light way down at the end of the tunnel. Well, that seems minor compared to all this darkness that I'm in, all these creepy sounds and moans and groans and all this stuff. This it's almost like a haunted house effect. The dark night of the soul. There's so much going on. Feels like I need to tend to all this drama. No. Focus on the light at the end of the tunnel and deal with what's in front of you, and keep doing that. Focus on the light, deal with what's in front of you. Focus on the light, deal with what's in front of you. Not to get too distracted with what might happen, what others are saying, the oppressive kinds of energy from people and systems and governments and news flashes. Please be careful with getting too caught up in all of that. In a way, it's like any of us that get it, that really understand what's going on. It's like being Noah, the biblical Noah, who tries to warn people, the masses or whatever, small groups, large groups, about an impending doom. And they just refuse to listen. They opt not to properly prepare for endings that are coming and then new beginnings. But the new beginnings must be done with God. The endings need to be done with God as well, meaning cling to Christ, cling to God, cling to consciousness, cling to the Holy Spirit, cling to the Divine Mother. Clinging to your buddies, clinging to your news shows and your newspapers will not help. Clinging to your old patterns and programs and addictions will not help. Frozen, man, it's got to reboot. Everything you've been doing has not worked. I've got to reboot. This, you're trying and, your computer's clearly screwed up. It's clearly frozen. And you're still sitting there going, click, 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 type, 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 nothing working. Well, how long do you want to do that? Like for me, if I have a computer and if it starts to freeze, I don't think I even go 20 seconds before I'd be powering off, reboot. I'm not going to sit there and belabor this whole thing and go, well, maybe it's not happening. I wish it weren't happening. I regret that it's not happening. That's living in the past, and it doesn't work. So it does feel a little bit like a Noah concept here. But the people in Noah's time, they just continued to live in spiritual blindness, meaning priorities were not right. They were not straight on their priorities. They were caught up in all the stuff they were doing in the outer world. So greater levels of rebooting, meaning devastation, came to them. They ended up suffering far more than they needed to. They ended up experiencing far more intense versions of the rebooting. So the people, no, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. Noah realized, and it's a very frustrating thing to be one of the only ones that says, I see it, I get it, because other people don't want to believe that. So Noah was, to us, a hero, a prophet in a way, but a hero because, wow, he made it. And we're descendants of the, whether literal or mythological, versions of Noah, and every culture seems to have their version of someone that made it through the rebooting that took place tens of thousands of years ago that Noah experienced. It wasn't just a few thousand years ago. It's a long time ago. And we made it. So we go, wow, yeah, we really respect Noah. He was no popular figure of his time at all. The opposite, quite the opposite, in fact. But Noah was not looked at as a mentor. There weren't people going, wow, that guy's hearing guidance from God about the world being distracted in garbage. So in their time, all the people of the land, they were caught up in their version of reality shows and, some of these just repulsive shows that just of nothing. People that wished they were celebrities and weren't. So they made themselves into celebrities in the most weird, out of integrity kinds of ways. And the people were so shallow now and then that they started watching them and becoming intrigued, making them into millionaires and celebrities. In the meantime, there are people that are artists and poets and visionaries, people that want to create, safe communities, people that want to create alternative energy and so on. They're not getting the money usually, and the funding to come out in the arts. The concept, the money that goes into silly reality shows, just to use one category, what it could do if that money, that support, and those commercials and whatever were sent into teaching people about sustainable living or just having safe places for animals to rehab or to be set free. I mean, what a difference. But no, that's not going to be the way it is, because I'm just going to be Noah and you're going to be Noah shouting, hey, come on, guys, you can do it. God wants the world to change. Oh, no, we're caught up in our stuff. And then starts raining. No big deal. It's just rain, and then here comes more and more and more and more. The water starts filling up. No big deal. It's just, wow, it's a bit of a flood going on a little here and there. Little ponds forming, and then lakes. And then people started getting concerned. Geez, this is kind of weird. Hey, Noah, we're still not going to join you, but if we change our mind, what's our last day that we get to change our mind? And they just stall and they stall and they're distracted with the human materialistic garbage until it's too late. When the water reached their chin, they started going, okay, I'm having to swim over to Noah's place. Maybe I better rethink this. Hey, Noah, let us in. No. Noah, you're a jerk for not letting us in. See? You went from being ignored, scoffed at, to blatantly blamed and shamed. So I'm sorry, guys, but that's kind of what you can expect if you're going to be one of the people saying the emperor is naked, using the old fable concept. So this is not unlike the fall of Rome that sent a huge portion of the world into the Dark Ages. For a long time, hundreds and hundreds of years, the Dark Ages existed. I was just talking about this on our program called Edenshire. We have a program from Monday through Thursday, 11 to 2, called Edenshire Live on Zoom. And that's a program where people can join us. They can learn about, it's all just free. We put that together when people started thinking there might be a pandemic coming and so on. I said, let's tell you what, folks, if you're going to be more often at home, I'll just be for free every day. I'll be here teaching, but I'd like some of you to pitch in. So I started getting more hosts. So each day you could learn anything from Reiki to herbology to meditation to yoga, all kinds of things that could serve. If you're not getting on the boat, the ark with Noah, you could at least have a raft to get through a lot of this. But, such is, not the case for the masses. We have a lot of people that join us for this free program, but the masses are still floating around trying to swim and, keep their head above water and survive. And they're waiting for this reboot where, oh, guess what? The government wrote checks to everybody. It's all rebooted and everything's back to normal. There will never be the normal. Even if things did go back to what we considered normal at one time, the fear, the post-trauma of this will never be gone until we're gone. meaning ascended into another consciousness or dimension. So this isn't unlike the Dark Ages after Rome's fall. We were another version of Rome and we fell. But don't think this is over. Don't think that, okay, rebooting. No, we're not done dying yet. I don't just mean mortality-wise. We're not done dying. All the systems in this world need to go, and they're going to go. Things that people, politics, education, I've been saying this for so many years, it's not even funny. All of these things are going to die, and they're dying. Politics, guys, government is a joke the way it's done. And medicine, it's all lies, it's all deception, it's all about money and materialism. I'm not putting down prosperity. I'm putting down the concept of greed, basically, in some of this portion of the talk. So this isn't, we're not just like coincidental participants. We're not just victims either. This is all, we're consciously going through this experience, but unconsciously there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. And we've signed up knowingly for a cosmic reboot, a global reboot, and a personal reboot. The whole universe is rebooting, but it's going to become more and more noticeable. And this is not just a 1-year experience that'll soon pass. Instead, this will continue at various levels. This is going to continue with more and more levels of dismantling. Government going to continue proving itself to be a joke. Religion, medicine, economy. People are going to try desperately, like that metaphor of Noah's Ark. They're going to try desperately to just deal with it. No big deal. It's just a joke. It's just little rain. To galoshes, to staying in their houses, to panicking, to trying to find something to stay afloat, to pounding on Noah's Ark, trying to get in, to drowning. All those variations is what people are going to go through. They're going through already, and they're going to continue. They blamed and shamed each other then. They pulled each other underwater to keep themselves afloat. And that's what the factions of religion and government do. Throw each other under the bus, try to use each other to bobble up and get a little more air for survival's sake. So it's ridiculous. And if I sound pessimistic, it's because the situation is kind of dire. And I'm aware that a lot of people don't get it. I know that if you're watching this, 99 out of 100 of you do get it and probably agree with much of what I'm saying. So, this isn't going to soon pass. This is all starting to move, kind of like tectonic plates. They could move a little, but when Mother Earth is fed up, they start to move, and people then go, maybe with this earthquake coming, maybe we should start changing our ways now. As the tornado touches down, as things happen, people decide to start converting. The decision was made always before and was allowed to go on for too long before a stamp was committed to, wherein the universe says it's coming. And now you can't reverse it. It's not when the first drop of rain came. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try, at least at that point, to, I got it, let me make a change in my life. But the sooner you get to that moment of the flood, okay, metaphorically or literally, the sooner you get to that moment of the floodgates breaking open and everything happening, the less there's chance to repent, as it were. So now is the time. It's already past decision time. The decision time was primarily roughly from 1960 to the year 2000. 2000, another 40 years, 2000 to 2040, is going to be the transition time, the beginning of it, of whatever decisions we made or didn't make in that 40-year period, 60 to 2000. Whatever we did there is what's determining what we're going to start experiencing for the next 40 years, which is the time we're in. We're, already halfway through that. Then around 2040 is going to be the beginning of basically the end of it all. So in other words, I don't mean to, again, sound too pessimistic, but the end everybody keeps anticipating is happening in our lifetime. It's not an end, it's a transition, but it's do or die. We're gonna go through a transition, but we're gonna do it the easy way or the hard way. And while we're doing it, we're going to be scratching and clawing for every inch of ground that we can gain from this survival and do this the hard way, or we're going to practice love, peace, forgiveness, spirituality, maintaining integrities. And that's what the Bible, the book of Revelation, means by being marked by God as a chosen one who won't be going through as much hell as everyone else. It's not because we want to be better than anyone else, of course, and we're not wishing harm on anyone else. We just know that the closer you are to the truth of God and who you are, the less drama you have to go through. That's just, just sort of a natural understanding. So, I and we in life, aren't wishing anyone harm, but there's common sense. If people don't want to learn and wake up, then unfortunately they're going to learn the hard way. And that's just a fact of life and a fact of nature. Over the next 100 years, starting in the year 2000, this period of time, a couple sets of years of 40, there eventually, when we get to the end, there'll be nothing left, guys, nothing left standing. Buildings, as you know them, structures, not just building structures, structures of government, religion, medicine, politics, all these different things, nothing's going to be left standing. Thank God. Now that sounds really sacrilegious and anti-America, and I get that. But it's pro-God, and that's all that matters. So I'm not anti anything per se. If I were anti, then I would be making those things real and powerful and fighting against them. I'm not. I'm actually talking about not being too invested in them because they're not the reality of God. So there won't be things left. They're all going to continue being dismantled year after year. We might have plateaus. We might even have one step forward here and there. Then people are going to go, oh, wow, I don't have to change after all. Look, I drank last night and I didn't have a hangover. I guess drinking too much isn't really all that bad. Then 3 more major hangovers, never going to drink again. Then the next time you drink, it wasn't so bad, and you're back to it again. So this is the same addictive behaviors and personality types of all people on planet Earth. So this reset that we're going through now is merely a minor version compared to what is yet to come. The goal is not simply to experience a reset on a human level. So don't think this is just a, governmental reset or just economic reset. This is going to get bigger and bigger about the reset. This is, this reset is about shifting dimensionally from ego-based living to spirit-based living, from fear-based living to love-based living, from all the garbage of we're better, we're a better nation, we're a better people, we're a better race, we're a better gender. All that's dying, and oneness will emerge from this, the easy way or the hard way. Simple as that. We're going to shift from, ego, evil-based living, selfishness and greed, to service and humanitarianism. But is that happening? If I snap my finger now, does it happen in 1 second? Think about it. Well, yes, it could. But does it seem to you like most human beings are like, oh, I didn't know this. So now that I know this, I'm ready to go. Do you really think so? I think you have to think it through, and you would come to the same realization. People are people. They keep doing the same old. And it's, you could say it's tragic, but it is what it is, period. So yes, we're going through a reset, guys. But there are smaller personal gears that are beginning to activate now, no doubt. They've been activating for a while, but it takes a while for a click to happen, with each movement of the gear. because they're moving sometimes slowly. But the personal resets have been going on for a long time. And less known global reset has been coming and been happening for a while. Most significantly, as I said, around the year 2000, it became really significant, the global shifting. It was in the late 1900s that I predicted all this was coming. So it hadn't happened yet. So around after the harmonic convergence, 1111, at the change of the millennium, that started being a part of this. It's also related to us moving into the age of Aquarius. Now, the age of Aquarius isn't supposed to be like you wouldn't think of. I'm not saying it's bad, but getting out of an old age into a new age is another, shut down and reboot. And with the shutdown, it comes back and some files aren't there anymore, as I said. So yes, age of Aquarius, but it means the previous age is gone. It's not going to be there anymore. Some parts of it. The age will be gone, but some pieces of it that are familiar won't be there. And that causes most people to tend to panic, to be afraid, to be intimidated. So that's that personal reset's moving, the global reset's moving, and then the galactic, the cosmic, the universal reset is also moving. And when you've got the attention of all the gears moving, where everything is going through a dark night of the soul, relationships are going through dark nights, jobs are going through dark nights. Usually it's just a person has a couple of these every lifetime. Now everyone and everything is going through dark nights of the soul. It's a book I've written that's very, very popular for a reason, and why I wrote it at the time I did, because I saw it happening. And it became popular. Nobody knew. They thought it was just about themselves. They didn't realize I was saying, this is not just happening. It is also that which is to come. So, and now it's happening. Do your best. Counter all this. Be your own version of Noah, your own version of Christ in any man or woman, Christ consciousness, where you start listening more, get guidance. Start every day with God and you will get clearer guidance. But start every day with God. You know what, God, I get it. The old is passing away. You can talk about the fact that you feel intimidated, scared, uneasy, or whatever. Put that all on the altar to the Mother, the Holy Spirit. Put it all on the altar to God. Let it be taken and say, now guide me anew. Whatever that means. It could mean new versions of relationship, new versions of work, could be new versions of everything in your life. And just as I'm starting to close, I know for me, and I've said this before in groups that I've done, shared, virtual sharing and all that, sometimes it's so odd. I even know this is coming. And there are still commonly times these days where I'm looking, like right now, I can just look outside and it feels surreal. Like watching some sort of staged thing. When you watch a stage presentation, there's no buildings, there's just facades. What do you think the word facade means? The facade, the face of facade, face of a building. It's just a mask. So it's like you're watching a play. Doesn't matter how pretty the play looks, the stage looks, doesn't matter how ugly the stage looks. None of it's real. They're facades to help get you in the mood of what the play is about. Well, the play here is about separation from God, that one race is better than another or worse than another. One gender is better, worse. Government is better, worse. They're all facades trying to convince you, to get you into the drama, to set the tone and the mood of the play that they're trying to present to you. And I'm sure it's not very fun for them or anyone else, for someone to sit in the audience going, but I know it's all a facade, so it's really hard to get that engaged in it. And that's called being in the world, but not of the world. So what's beautiful is to know the truth, but respect the illusion. to say, I know it's a facade, but I really admire what they're trying to do here. This is beautiful. And I really admire the skill that went into building that. I really love the love in it all. Don't buy into the facade. Don't actually let your brain think that one group in politics or president or candidate is better really than another. If you actually believe one candidate is better, you better own that you actually then think a race can be better than another and a gender can be better than another. If you're going to buy into any, you're going to bite the bait, take the bait and go with that illusion, you better own you probably are biting into and taking the bait for all of it. You really are. Illusion is illusion. Truth is truth. You can't say, I'm going to have some bits of truth and some bits of illusion, which is what we try all the time. But as soon as you acknowledge that any illusion is real, then you've lost sight of reality to some degree or another. Now reality can be right in your face, but you're still going to be uncertain, which is why people are uncertain which job to take, which person to date. They're not clear anymore because we've gone into such a dualistic, conflicting world. But this too shall pass. That too is going to be flooded and gone. All structures, I swear to you, there will be no structures one day of any kind, because in higher dimensionality, even that which seems like a building is not solid. Everything becomes a bit more ethereal. And one day, in the not too distant future, mankind will return to a fifth dimensional ethereal way of life. And you might go, wow, I can't wait. And that's true. I can't wait either. It's beautiful. But we can't get lost in that one day, I hope, wish kind of belief system. We have to deal with stuff here. So instead of waiting for the new reality, better start living it as best you can right now where you are. Don't wait till everyone is forgiven and practicing forgiveness. Practice it right now the best you can. So that's a challenge because it means you're bringing light to a place that isn't there yet. One day it'll all be light, no work to do in terms of changing it. But what we're talking about is being light workers in a dark place. One day, everything will be so bright and light, there won't be a need for someone to be holding a torch. It would serve no purpose. But right now, it serves a purpose. So do your best, guys. And I'm well aware that the person had asked, hey, would you talk about whatever the terminology was, a reset or a global reset or whatever wording you used. I'm also aware that you might have very much intended for me to do this from just that standpoint. Because if you listen to people that talk about that, most of them are talking about economic or governmental resets. And it's not like me just to go and do something simple like that. I like to hit it from all sides and all dimensions. So please know, this is a very cosmic experience and a personal experience. The so-called economic and the other types, conspiracies around that. Yes, a lot of that is true. Okay, a lot of that is true, that there are conspiracies, true conspiracies, accurate conspiracies about some people trying to reset the economy and take control of the world. Yeah, that is going on. But our concern needs to be on all levels. How can I be making a difference? You're not going to be, you individually and I individually, we're not going to be able to stop people from being the way they are, greedy or conspiratorial or fear-based. We need to come from this, approach this from a very different place. And the world won't understand that. So they're going to just keep pushing on you to buy into their linear version of the reset. So if I did not address that one linear concept enough about individuals and the wealthy people in the world and all that, I apologize if that's what you were looking for. It's not my type to really go and deal with stuff of a too material or linear basis, but I will at least go as far as to say, and it's no fault of yours, it's just not my interest. But I will go so far as to say, yeah, there are people, and some of what they're doing is well-intended, like, buying up a lot of land. Some of it is about recognizing that the world's going to hell in a handbasket and land needs to be purchased so that people will have a place to go one day. That's the positive intention in some areas of the minds of some of these individuals. But there's another not so kind intention, which is, and if people do need a place to go, what better solution than if I'm in charge of it all? If I own it all? I mean, wow. So there is a little bit of that going on, and it's hard not to think that way in this world, because people don't know how to get guidance and anchor what would be a spiritual project instead of a personal idealism, a controlism, a fantasy of world domination and that sort of thing. So onwards and upwards, folks. Let's do our best, man, to be who we really are and bring something different to this world. All right? Join me in that in any way you can. God bless you all. Join us for our Friday Spiritual Insights, Sunday Sacred Services, Edenshire Live on Zoom, 4 days a week. Friday night Spiritual Insights, it makes it 5 days a week. Sunday makes it 6 days a week. Saturdays, once in a while, I do workshops. But 6 days a week, almost throughout the entire year. For many, many years, I've been teaching, and much of my work has been free. And for at least a year, 6 days a week, we've been doing these programs pretty much free of charge. We do greatly appreciate donations if and when any of you folks feel so called to do such. So thank you. If you can't afford, we appreciate it. There, you can send donations, you can share other forms of prosperity with us. You can click a link here and leave a donation. There's lots of ways that you can help, and we appreciate them all. All right. So God bless you all. Hope to see you all soon in one of our next programs. Okay. Bye-bye.